got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast.
All right, here it is. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast. Indeed, season 2, episode 32, presented to you by who else?
Buffalo Wild Wings, Let's Go Sports Bar.
It's a softball episode. You can tell because I've got Rebecca Yenrick back here with me. Of course, the incomparable Justin Feldkamp to my right. Me sitting in the middle. It's where I belong. Seats shaped into my body at this point. Summer is getting closer. The warm weather, we'll count out the rainy days, of course, because it's spring in Ohio, is here. So I got a question. I'm firing up the grill a little bit more as we get warmer. Do you have a favorite grill food as we get into the warmer months? I'll start Justin.
Yeah, let's go. Can't go wrong with steak. I'll do
course.
that. And some tenderloin, little beef tenderloin.
Mhm.
Slow cook it. You never want to burn it. You never want to leave it too pink.
Low and slow,
You
baby.
you got to be precise with that type of stuff. Get yourself one of those thermometers you can stick
yeah.
in the meat and make sure it's the right temperature so you're
Fancy
not...
pants grilling over here.
Yeah, you got to get it done. But I'll go with those two.
All right, Becca.
I would
Favorite
agree with
grill
the
food.
steak.
Yep.
That's top notch. But also, if you do pineapple on the grill,
Ooh,
Okay.
that's where it's at. Also, green beans. Put some green beans in there. Get a little olive
veggies.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
veggies.
veggies where I was going to say. I'll say corn is one of my favorite things to throw up on the grill. Wrap it in some tin foil, get some butter, whatever on there. Steak, can't go wrong with steak. For those of you who don't know about it, get a sous vide. It's going to make all your grilled food way better. We'll come to Carnes' cooking show on a later date.
Yes, in the kitchen with Carnes.
Exactly.
There you go.
Coming up today on our episode, we've got our clip of the week, of course, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. We'll get you up to date on everything that's happened in the softball world since we last checked in on it. And, of course, our game of the week, so much more. You want brand new episodes right here every single Wednesday, 4 p.m. on BCSN or anywhere you get your podcast, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify. If there's a play button, we're there for your audio. And, of course, follow us on every social media platform that there is. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at BCSN Sports, everywhere you're going to go. And we're going to start this thing out with the rankings. All right, rankings have come out via the OHSAA, or Ohio High School Fast Pitch Softball Coach Association. And we've got some extras from within the BCSN household. Updating this week, Anthony Wayne up to number 2 in Division I. Springfield sitting at number 6, despite some games that maybe have shaken some confidence, I think, in our belief. Oak Harbor last week was in at number 8 in Division III. They have slid out of the rankings. But I think there's no question where Anthony Wayne should be. But maybe maybe where's the love for some other local teams, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think Watkins Memorial number 1. We're talking Division I, so
Right.
Watkins Memorial number 1. Anthony Wayne up to 2. Lancaster 3. Walsh Jesuit 4. Austintown Fitch 5. Austintown Fitch is the team that Anthony Wayne played and lost to in the state championship game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Springfield from our area. Holland at 6. Hilliard Bradley at 7. Lebanon 8. Amherst Steel 9. And Brecksville Broadview Heights also tied at 9. So I think Anthony Wayne is going to remain up there.
Right.
I don't see them falling out of the top 10, possibly the top 5, even despite maybe some potential losses.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I think a lot of their the more difficult schedule making of opponents happened already, and they've beaten them. They've taken on teams from the Dayton and Cincinnati area already earlier in the season. They beat both of them. So in Mason and Miamisburg. So I think that Anthony Wayne will stay there. With Springfield, kind of surprised at that one. They got crushed by Whitmer since the last time we had the softball version
Lost
of the
to
podcast.
Perrysburg as well.
Lost
Yeah.
to Perrysburg as well. So I think with these coaches and getting their votes in by a specified time and then doing the
Right.
calculations, it is kind of difficult. If you're a coach in one part of the state and trying to get information and intel, there's not a ton of websites where you can quickly gather all types of stats and information and records and scores and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think Springfield, despite losses, is still in there. I think it will correct itself next week, and we'll delve a little deeper into Springfield here in a little bit. But yeah, I think Perrysburg, a team who has looked strong, who gave Anthony Wayne a game. It was a close game in the 5th inning when those two matched up. So I think Perrysburg could see themselves work into the state top 10.
Rebecca, early season rankings, how hard are you as a player, as a coach? Just turn your head away. Don't even look at the numbers next to your name. Are you
Yeah.
paying attention to it?
Yeah, it's hard to not look at the numbers. I know when I was playing, I was always looking. I would look at the blade on the newspaper. I was searching. My family would search for me. But I was like, you can't tell me the numbers, please don't, because it's going to put pressure on me. You can't really focus on the numbers.
Yeah.
You have to focus on your at-bats individually, and you have to focus on each game individually, or else you're going to end up being in your head a lot. I think that kind of happened with Springfield and Whitmer, where Whitmer overpowered them. Maybe they just got in their head a little bit, but I'm kind of excited because I have my own top 5 for this.
Let it rip.
Let's go.
Hey. All right, listen now. First
Becca
one,
breakdown.
Exactly. Okay.
here.
First one, I'm going to give it to Anthony Wayne, obviously.
No
Anthony
question,
Wayne
right?
is, they're 11-0. I mean, they got Kat Myers, Allie Myers, Trinity Nowicki, Megan Sumner, Molly Connor. And Kat Myers and Molly Connor, they are just the pitchers for this team. And not only do they have a stellar Kat Myers who's going to U of M, they've got Molly Connor who's going to Notre Dame. And that's just the pitching staff.
Yeah.
They're 3 for 3. Like the top 3 things you need for a team, pitching, defense, hitting, they've got it all. Top the lineup all the way through 9, they're stellar. So I think they're going to remain that way. I had number 2 for Springfield. I'm not going to lie. I might have to shake it up a little bit. I don't know how I feel right now. But I got Springfield number 2, Oak Harbor number 3, Perrysburg number 4 because they really surprised me this past week. And I have Bryan number 5.
Okay.
It's kind of a, it's a little shaky, but I actually really enjoy them. I think Springfield, they've got Ava Litton. She's doing phenomenal. Hannah Schlachter, Cam Urquhart, Olivia Romp. I think that they're struggling because they lost Maddie Yackey.
Yes,
They're just trying to find their team chemistry. And you lose your pitcher, that's like one of your top positions.
Right.
Oak Harbor's doing great. They entered a new league. They entered Northern Buckeye Conference, and they were picked to win it. So despite entering a new conference, they're doing really well. I think that they're just going to come up on top. They've got a lot of players, top to bottom, that hit really well. Porter Gregory, Reese Adkins, Ava Geyer, Carter Haas. I think that they've.
You're good. You're good.
See,
you're good.
look, I'm over
Finish your
Hey,
thought.
it's the Becca breakdown.
Becca's taking over. But Perrysburg did really well this year. I think that Haley Griggs is going to kill it again. And Bryan, they're doing really well. If you haven't, look up the Steven Staten. She's doing phenomenal. All Ohio last year as a freshman. So.
Wow.
Becca's got all the info. I don't even know why Justin and I are here anymore.
I took it over.
But if you need more information, if that's not enough for you, make sure you check out Dwayne Lanham over on Sports Nightly every single Tuesday. He'll hit you with his own breakdown of the area softball news. Becca's saying so many eloquently things that I'm just falling apart over here. So we're going to slide away from the softball for just a second. All right, we're going to take to you every single week like we have the top 20 male and female athletes of the 20 years of the BCSN era. So that's Savannah Isaac last week on the girls' side. We're going to slide to the boys this time, going back to some City League greats, and that is William Buford of Libby High School, the Cowboys, the now defunct Libby, but they left us with a heck of a great that was William Buford. Junior year, 28 points a game, 12 boards, all-state. Senior year, 23-11, casually Ohio's Mr. Basketball.
Yeah, he has been a fantastic scorer. He's gone on to play overseas after Ohio State and in a professional career. And when we were releasing this earlier this year, our long-standing color analyst for high school basketball broadcast, Darren Cohn, said that he is Northwest Ohio's version of Kevin Durant. And I thought it was aptly named because similar body type, tall, a little lengthy, but could just fill it up from inside, from outside. He could score however he could right here, throwing it down, just with such ease, so effortless with some of his moves and shot blocking ability.
Some defense,
I mean, to be up there, the all-time rankings at Ohio State, not just in our area, not just in high school, but at the college level, and to go overseas and then play professionally for approximately a decade plus, just definitely very deserving to be on our list.
A 3-time Blade Player of the Year, the number 3 recruit at shooting guard in the nation, 4 times was all Big Ten in some format or another. Also, the basketball tournament MVP in 2019 with Carmen's crew. He's playing in Brazil right now with Fortaleza, BC, averaging almost 11 points, almost 4 boards a game. Still cooking on the court is William Buford, one of our top 20 male athletes of the last 20 years here at BCSN. And while you bask in the glory and the greatness of William Buford, we're going to take a break because it was too much for us to handle. We're going to take a quick 30-second break from our sponsors over at B-Dubs, and we'll be right back here for more.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go, go, go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Let's go sports bar, and let's go back into some NLL softball while we're at it. Perrysburg and Anthony Wayne collided last week, a huge Buckeye battle. Perrysburg comes away just short, 7-3 the final there. Really great defense toward the end of the game that I'm going to tease you towards our play of the week from Anthony Wayne that sealed the deal. Molly Connor, complete game for the Generals, a 3-hitter, 9 Ks. Oh, by the way, just a 2-run home run to cap it off on the other side for her. She said, I've been in situations like this, just need to dial back off the shaky start. Perrysburg got off to a quick one there. She just said I had to dial back and be Molly Connor, so she knows who she is. She's ready to go do her thing. Perrysburg, they were up 2-0, as I mentioned, in the first. Jess Miller had an inside the park homer. They just couldn't finish too much Anthony Wayne in this one, Justin.
Yeah, it was 4-3 in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
So not a 4-3 in the first inning or second. I mean, deep into the game, this was a tight 1-run ball game. And I just think this Anthony Wayne versus Perrysburg, veterans versus youngsters, and youngsters who are trying to get their reps at the varsity level. But when you got 7 seniors for Anthony Wayne, and Becca already listed them off, and going to Ohio University, going to University of Michigan, going to Notre Dame.
Kennesaw,
there's so many different talented players going to Division I colleges that when, in some ways, you're climbing a mountain from the first pitch all the way till the final out. So with 7 sophomores, with many of them starters on the Perrysburg side, you gotta kind of take your lumps a little bit against these top-tier teams, and Perrysburg has done very well against nearly everybody else. They beat Springfield 11-3 this past Saturday. Mason Gerard, complete game for Perrysburg. Coach Ryan DeMars straight out knows how to coach. He's got Haley Griggs. We mentioned her, 3 for 4 at the home run in that game. Jess Miller inside the park against Anthony Wayne, also with a home run, 3 for 3 in the win against Springfield. So Perrysburg, I mentioned, could find themselves working their way into the state top 10 ranking. Yeah. But when you match these 2 Buckeye division teams within the Northern Lakes League, you're going to see these teams battle throughout and maybe see each other in the postseason beyond the regular season.
Right. We're still relatively early in the season, right? Maybe about a third of the way, halfway through. How much stock do you put into one way or the other, whether you're Anthony Wayne getting a win over a tough team or whether you're Perrysburg losing this to a tough team? How much stock do you put in either way as a team here?
I mean, you have to. If you win a solid game against Anthony Wayne, I mean, that would be amazing,
right?
And you want to take that victory and let it slide. But also, if you take a loss to Anthony Wayne, that's nothing against
right.
you. They're a
solid
solid
to,
team.
right.
You've got Kat Myers, you've got Molly Connor, and that's just the first 2 pitchers. And I mean, if you're hitting off them, then you're doing pretty good. That's
right.
University of Michigan. Like, you're doing phenomenal. So I'd say take the loss. It's fine. I mean, they were never out of the game.
No, 100%.
That's the point. They were hitting off her. So, I mean, it's fine. I would just keep my head up because it's still, if you hit off Kat Myers, it's still a win for you.
Right. You talked about Coach DeMars. He talked about in that game, they just made more clutch plays than us, essentially is what it came down to. He said, comes down to it when you got 2 good teams going at who makes the most clutch plays. The Generals made a lot more clutch plays over the weekend. They went on to win the Mid-Ohio Classic. They beat Notre Dame Portsmouth. They beat Upper Sandusky. They beat Elyria. They kept their winning ways alive. You talked about Perrysburg taking the win over Springfield. Griggs and Miller, the dominating pair in both of those. Griggs, that's her 5th home run of the season. She hit in that one.
Yeah.
We're going to keep those things rolling. So a huge matchup in the Buckeye. And Anthony Wayne taking the first time they're going to match up. We're going to slide now to our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. We're going to stay with this game, though. All right, we talked about clutch plays on defense. Essence 𝗬𝗫-𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗁, a name as long as her range in the outfield. The warning track, a suggestion, if you are Essence 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗁, slides out. This is the top of the 6th inning, lays out at the warning track, hits the wall, gets the out. Huge clutch plays. Coach DeMar brought it up, and there it is. We got receipts.
That's an excellent play. Rebecca, you speak to this because you were an outfielder at the high school and college level, and whether it's a fence or a wall, depending on which venue you're talking about, I mean, it's definitely no joke, and that right there is not an easy play. I can make the argument that is more of a difficult play than actually reaching over the fence and making a robbing home run.
Yeah, well, you're going to hit the fence in that one. You just got to take the L, is what we used to say in college, and I would rather run into the fence than there was a girl on base in that play. She could have made it to third or home, and that would have been a run scored. In the outfield, you have to have range, and you have to be able to make plays like this consistently because in the infield, if it stays in the infield, your runners don't advance that much. In the outfield, the runners can have multiple bases taken. So it's a great play, phenomenal. You could tell that she kind of felt out that fence to see where it was at before she dove for it, and she made that play.
And call it a warning track for a reason.
Yeah,
right?
the familiarity, I think this is a home game for Anthony Wayne, so
Huge.
it's not like this is the first game that she's played there, so she knows where that fence is. At the high school level, most fields are pretty consistent as far as the depth, the left field foul pole, right field foul pole, dead center field kind of thing. There's a lot more consistency, I think, with softball diamonds and fields as compared to baseball fields for the most part. So I think that this play, chalk it up to experience, chalk it up to athleticism, chalk it up to courageousness and bravery to go track that sucker down. And it's not like she was just contending against the wall. She's got her right fielder. And so people who were paying attention to the baseball world in this area, we saw a horrific collision between two Eastwood players last week. So that's no joke at all. And luckily, they avoided a collision against each other. And I'll say that the center fielder there, she wins against the wall, but such a great play for Essence there.
Essence 𝗬𝗡𝗆 It's a long name. Try not to forget it. Kennelly also had a great play at a stab at shortstop to end this inning. So those clutch plays for Anthony Wayne, really the difference. You want to see more replays of this because you didn't see it enough during the podcast today. Make sure you head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports. It's already there. There's a clutch game-winning play in the Bowling Green clay game that I'm also going to talk about later, but it's going to be on there ASAP. So make sure you are there at BCSN Sports on TikTok. Help us get to 10,000 followers. And while I've got you guys here at the table, it's early season. I'm going to hit you guys with a little bit of Q&A. So I want to hear your guys' input. And we'll start just basic. It's real simple. What is the team in the area that has impressed you the most so far? Becca, you can go first.
Okay, I actually picked two. I picked Whitmer.
It's all right.
Because of the recent upset against Springfield.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people counted out Whitmer this season. You know, that's new to the NLL. The NLL has consistently been pretty amazing in the Ohio area, at least.
Yes.
I mean, NLL is always top notch. I think a lot of people canceled them out, and they came in and they stopped everybody. They were like, no, we can play with Springfield. So I'm going to give them their props for that. I also had Perrysburg. I had them a little bit lower on my ranking. I think that they might have changed my mind a little bit because they've been hitting amazing home runs. Haley Griggs, obviously. Mason Gerard's been holding her own in the circle to really keep them in games like that. So I'm also going to say Perrysburg.
All right. Whitmer and Perrysburg?
Yep.
Becca's
I like
picks.
Brian in Division II. Rebecca's old high school coach, Brenda Radeball, said, look out for Brian in Division II, but I'll give you Finley. I think they played well against Anthony Wayne earlier in the season. Coach Brian Steffes has got his daughter on the team, 8 starters returning from last year. You can tell that they are seasoned in the sense that they got the experience from last year, whether they were sophomores or juniors, and now moving up to juniors and seniors. But ththose 8 starters return. Natalie Steffes is a sophomore pitcher who's playing and pitching very well. And then Annabelle Cooper and Reagan Bruscotter have played very well, got some clutch hits in some of their victories, and then played well against the top-tier elite teams, like I mentioned earlier, going up against Anthony Wayne.
We'll hear more about Whitmer here in a little bit, but back, I've got another one for you. All right. We have a lot of college prospects. You've talked about some of them already in the area. When you step from the college diamond, or the high school diamond, up into the college, what's the biggest thing that stands out to you as a difference in the game?
Gosh, when I think about my personal experience, the easiest way I can explain it is that when you're in high school, you feel like a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And then you go to college, you feel like a little fish in a huge pond. I remember when I got my offer from Toledo, my dad looked at me and he was like, you think this is where the hard work ends? No, this is where the hard work begins.
Right.
And gosh, was he right? Because when I went to my first practice at Toledo, I looked left and I looked right, and I'm like, every girl is just as good, if not better than me. If I'm going to want to play on this team, I'm going to have to put in the work. So it's not just going to practices, it's going to individuals, hitting, conditioning, and doing things on your own. You have to work hard in college. I think that's the difference maker. In high school, you can get away with that.
All right, Justin, quick hit. If you are a coach on a team that maybe isn't having the success that some of the teams we've talked about so far, what's your quick pitch? Flip this thing around and let's get rolling in the right direction.
I would say you got to close the gap. So say you face a team earlier in the season and you know you're going to play them again. Mm-hmm. Say you lost 10-0. Okay, suck it up, power through, train, practice, everything that Becca's talking about, put in the work. And then next time, okay, maybe you take another loss, but instead of 10-0, it's 8-2 or 7-4. So kind of keep building. You got to steady. You're not going to go from here to here in the snap of a finger.
Right.
Whether you're talking high school, college, or even youth sports as well. You got to figure out ways to set the standards and the expectations. And then, okay, this team is about this. So let's do this each and every day. And it's the cliche stuff, but that's how you build a program, and that's how you do close that gap with those cliches of getting one day better. Okay, work on my drill, work on this one little aspect, defensive drills, or extra reps in the cage, hitting off the tee, doing soft toss, getting some BP before or after practice with an assistant coach. All that type of stuff is how you take those incremental steps forward.
Yeah, it's, hey, Coach's Corner now with Justin. We're coming up with segments every single part of the show, apparently. Becca teased it. All right, so we're going to move. Becca's breakdown.
Becca's
Barnes is cooking. We're going to cook about some Whitmer softball. All right, Becca gave me a perfect little tease into it. I took some time, talked to Coach Cassie Wagner in her second season there. They were picked third, all right, in the Buckeye this year. And I think, as Becca just said, they've surprised a lot of people. They've played really well. That's kind of before even the Springfield game, right? You rule one of the best teams in the area, 14-3. Obviously a huge thing, but they were in it last year, right? A 6-5 loss to Perrysburg in the districts last year. Big win, like I said, over Springfield. They've got another prove-it game with Perrysburg this week, who they lost to earlier in the season. But there are 2 losses so far this season where we stand. Perrysburg, who we've talked about plenty, and the number 2 team in D4 in Minster, and that was a 9-8 game. These are games against really good teams that they've not been out of, including last year on a really good Anthony Wayne team. Leading that right now, sophomore Reagan LaPointe. We've got to brag about because I've known her since she was about a year and a half old, if not less. Leading the team in batting average. She's only a sophomore with 545. She's got 16 runs scored already. She's slugging 909.
Nice.
So
wow.
When you have somebody step up from a sophomore year or a freshman year into a sophomore year, and those stats are what's helping lead the team, a huge positive for a team that wasn't predicted to be here, and now they're showing, hey, we can do this.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, again, it doesn't really – I know that we focus on freshmen and sophomore, and I get that. But a lot of these girls play travel ball.
Yeah,
like I know the LaPointes.
All the time.
I know the LaPointes personally. I used to play with a girl, Allison LaPointe. I don't know if she's related, but she would play travel with me all the time. These girls, it's not their first game.
No.
So I know that even though they might not be experienced in high school, they're experienced on the diamond. So, I mean, again, that puts you in perspective, like they can hang in there with teams like this. And if you count them out, that just gives them an advantage.
Yeah. Justin, like I said, I talked to Coach Wagner. She said, taken away from this game, I told her, how do you balance, hey, appreciate this really big win, but don't ride on that win because the season's not over, right? She said they know they can play now with the best in the NLL. If they play together, we'll focus on playing clean team ball and see where that season takes us.
Yeah, I like that. It's a steady approach because you can't get too far ahead. You can't dwell on what has already happened. You got to be in the present moment, whether it's working on it practice or the inning within the game. And let's keep in mind that they are replacing the void of Sophia Weigast, who was at Whitmer last year, played extremely well. Now at the University of Akron, I touched base with her stat line. Playing first base, last check, she started 37 of Akron's 40 games this year, hitting .277, 8 home runs, 31 RBIs, and 10 runs scored at last check. So you have a large hole to fill, and Coach Wagner's doing a great job, and in some ways maybe by committee, or you mentioned LaPointe there, in kind of filling the void, at least statistically, with the batting average and slugging percentage. So yeah, they've got a lot of juice going right now, and entering this first season in the NLL, playing against top tier teams, maybe gives you a little boost of confidence. And the finish line is definitely not there yet. But when you have anecdotal evidence that, hey, we can contend, we can battle, it just proves itself time and again, and then it'll pay off in the future.
All this great breakdown. We haven't even had our game of the week yet. That's coming up right now. Our game of the week brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Eventually. Excuse the technical difficulties, but we're back. It's game of the week time. Fremont Ross at BG. We're heading to the Cardinal side of the NLL. We've talked plenty of Buckeye. We're going to the Cardinal side. Ross and BG. Fremont Ross, 8 returning starters, but only 3 seniors. This is a young team battling their way up the Cardinal side of things. And BG, they're coming off a huge win over projected Cardinal champion Clay over the weekend.
Yeah, and they played well. A game on BCSN. It was a close game, good defensive battle. 2-0, I think the final score was in that one.
It was a close one.
And they coming up for BG, they got Findlay, Napoleon, Clyde, Springfield again, and May 6th, the home game versus Whitmer. We just talked about them. But Coach Cassie Nauman has done a great job with them. And Sammy Trimpe, we've talked about her. She's committed to play Heidelberg, hit .554 with 30 stolen bases last year. One of those players who just kind of plug and play. And you mentioned, Becca mentioned playing outside of high school and you're playing summer ball and travel ball. That's where Trimpe got a lot of her playing experience. And she is a top flight NLL star and playing very well again this season. And BG, in my estimation, should be victorious in this one, in a game that you can see on BCSN later tonight. But with what they've been able to do, another team that's kind of slowly building up. I mean, it's a challenge when we talk about the Anthony Waynes and the Springfields and the Perrysburgs within the NLL, even with a new look NLL format with 2 divisions. You're still playing everybody. You play everybody within your division twice and crossover once. But it's definitely a challenge, and it's hard to get that mental aspect. It's hard to say, okay, we can go in and win this game against those top-tier teams. But you got to build, and that's what Trimpe and Nauman have done at BG.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, right, Fremont Ross, at one point in the season, 7 losses in a row for the Little Giants. How does that affect a team mentally, and how the heck do you turn that bad streak around?
Obviously, it's going to affect you poorly mentally. You're like, oh my gosh, we just lost 7 in a row. What are we doing? But a lot of things that I think will help is you have to get that team chemistry a little bit together. And as Justin said earlier, you have to build from there. You can't focus on, well, we've lost. Maybe we lost 10-0. Well, we need to put in the work, and maybe next time it'll be 10-8. Like this stuff doesn't happen overnight.
No. I
do think BG's going to win on this one just because Sammy Trimpe is, it's pretty stellar. You can't out-hit speed. So
30 stolen bases is a ridiculous number.
Yeah. I always was jealous of slappers because they always had better batting averages because they're just so dang fast.
Yeah.
Hey, you take what works and you literally, if you're Sammy Trimpe, run with it. Zoe Zeems on the mound for BG also had herself a day over the weekend against Clay. A complete game, 7 Ks, 2 hits against the Eagles. That'll be tonight on BCSN on the app at 5 p.m. Make sure you check it out. And make sure when this podcast ends, I've told you every single week, you're going to run to B-Dubs, you're going to get your wings, and you're going to come back, flip on the BCSN app, and check out the game. And B-Dubs are going to tell you why for about 30 seconds here, and then we'll be back.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off Traditional Wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off Traditional Wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, upcoming games. Cisco, let me hit the graphic. Let's see what we got rolling out on BCSN this week. There it is.
Woo!
We got
That's a lot of games.
Plenty coming up. And that's, of course, playoff hockey, right? We're heading to Kazoo, up 2-0 in the series. Are the Fish after some great games over the weekend. We've got high school baseball, high school softball. We'll check out some Taction tonight, or Thursday night, Northwood, Emmanuel Christian. Then we'll hit the college softball scene, Northern Illinois, BGSU going Friday and Saturday right here on BCSN. High school track, we got the night relays, the prestigious event every single year. Speed kills.
Need for speed at the night relays.
Think we'll see Sammy Trimpe running around the track or no? She's got stolen bases. She'll steal a 100-meter dash, whatever it's got to be. Plenty coming up all week on BCSN. And, of course, I'm going to give some shout-outs while we've got this graphic up. Marcus Blaze, shout out Marcus Blaze, took 3rd place at the Olympic trials over the weekend at 57 kilograms, qualified for the U.S. national team on the wrestling side of things. Right. And, of course, we can't not talk about Quinyon Mitchell. The draft coming up tomorrow night, a almost lock for the first round is Quinyon Mitchell, usually about the 15 pick, but I've seen him as high as 8.
Yeah.
He goes 8. That makes him the highest drafted Rocket of all time. Dan Williams, the 11th pick in 1993, going to Denver. He was the number 1 highest pick in Rocket history.
Yeah,
got some great coverage coming from that.
Everybody who's been invited, the actual draftees invited to Detroit, are all from Power 5 conferences, except Quinyon Mitchell, the only one represented in 9 Power 5. So hats off to Toledo. Hats off for sticking with UT. Even when other offers to leave came along, he stuck with them. It's like Becca stuck with the Rockets all 4 years.
There we go.
Good luck to Quinyon. Sports Night will be up there. Nicole Weaving will have reports, maybe a one-on-one exclusive with Quinyon.
You want to stick right here on BCSN every Wednesday, 4 p.m. for brand new episodes, or go anywhere you listen to your podcast. And make sure while you're there, hit the follow button at BCSN Sports on every social media platform. Catch you next week.